Are you going to do that every time? Shimmy us in.
Love a good shimmy.
Yeah.
Welcome to this energy today.
Oh, good. I'm into it already. All right. I'm not going to tell you what this topic is today. I'm just going to jump right in, tell you about the dream I had today, then probably go on into a little rant. And then I'm going to ask you a question and ask for your opinion on the situation.
Well, I love a structured plan, as you well know, for a conversation.
I don't think this one's going to be structured, but I guess that's...
Look, yeah, I got a map up front, so I'm fine.
Cool.
I'm ready. I'm ready to ride the wave.
I was trying to make up for not telling you what this is about, so I'm glad that worked.
It did. You're doing great. Go team.
Okay. So, I woke up this morning from crying in my dream.
Oh.
I had a baby. I had a cute little baby girl.
Yeah.
And so, the details don't make sense, but it's a dream, right? So it's okay. We were like at a family gathering and everyone was loving on her, and my dad was having a great time taking care of her and was being apparently so wonderful at it that I had completely not forgotten about her, but was enjoying the other people and just letting my dad do the thing, which is great. Again, the details don't make a lot of sense because at some point, I think, I don't know, I was asked if I wanted to go somewhere and it would have to be without the baby. So then I was like, well, I can't do that unless I stop breastfeeding. And in the moment where I said that, I realized, how long has it been since I breastfed her? And it had been 1.5 days, and realized, oh my God, that means my milk has gone dry. And again, the details don't make sense. I would never
we're here. It's
someone, fine. Who's breastfeeding, you don't forget to feed your baby. A. B, your body's going to tell you because the boobs are going to hurt. They don't just go dry like that and you forget and notice, oh my God. But that's what happened in my dream. And then I was crying and very, very sad and mourning very
your
harshly
experience.
And she was tiny, that my milk was gone and I was not breastfeeding anymore, and was like, what am I even going to do now?
Okay.
Which, I mean, obviously she had been being fed some other way these 2 days, but I wasn't thinking like that because anyways.
Because dream.
Yeah, and my mom was comforting me, and then I woke up.
Okay. All right. So there's our context for the day.
Yes.
Where did we go from there?
Well, that was just another one of those experiences that I've been having that I feel very, very, very connected to the spirit that has been waiting to come to us and has repeatedly told me so, that they're ready and they're waiting and they're hanging out until we're ready.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about it one of these days to someone, and I remember telling the story of when I first had encountered that spirit, and in that encounter they had also told me their name, and I've been keeping that name close to my heart and guarding it, and I haven't told anyone. And while I was telling the story, I almost said it because to me, the name is so connected to the spirit. It's not just a name, this is
who they are.
Them. Oh, this is making me emotional. It's so real, so close, so tangible to me, almost somehow. Yeah, so that's been happening a lot, that I'm just feeling this very hard. I'm feeling this hard.
Feeling it so hard.
Intensely. And I mean, then just the general of that, whenever I see a baby, I'm like, yep. When I see your baby, when I see my niece, when I see Mateus interacting with my niece, I'm like, yeah, I can't wait for him to hold his baby and just look at that. That's what I want. I want to And I was looking through photos yesterday, and there were photos of him holding our niece when she was teeny tiny, just 4 months old. And I was like, yep, that's the image right there.
Oh man, I remember after she was born and you were like, we have to wait 4 months before we can meet her.
Yeah, so all of those things are making me go like, okay, throwing everything out the window. I don't even want to wait the 9 months. I just need to have a baby right now. And then, of course, my brain sets in and it's like, no, but I like our life the way it is right now. And I do want to, like the bucket list. I talked to Janine about the bucket list, and I have a bucket list, and we still have all those things. And I want that too. And like we have this time frame that also constantly changes, so that doesn't help. And I'm just stuck between this longing and feeling and this spiritual connection that makes me want to throw everything out of the window and just go right now. And then I have the mental side of it that's like, I can't even imagine having a child in our life right now. We're very much organizing ourselves right now, which I think is a great thing to do somewhat before you have one.
It's helpful.
But then also, okay, I have so many thoughts and having difficulty, if you can't tell, getting them out. So I think my question is, Megan.
Oh gosh. I was enjoying listening to you.
I was just noticing that I kept repeating myself in trying to get more of my thoughts out, but that didn't work, so I just kept repeating the old ones.
Okay.
So we'll see if they come once you say whatever you think. Did that make sense?
Sure.
Oh my God.
I'm happy to step in.
Thanks.
What's your question?
I just want to know your thoughts on how much of a planned conception do you think is, how can I phrase this? Just your opinion of like, do we need to stick to the plan? Can we just throw it out the window? In which scenario would maybe be more regret or overwhelmment happening? Wow, I can't even get this question out.
Well, okay, so planning versus not planning or just going for it.
I guess.
How many ducks need to be in a row before go?
Yeah.
I mean, you know me. I'm always telling you to throw the plane out the window and just have a baby. That is my go-to move in our conversations.
Could be a tell that I'm asking you, because I know that of you. People, hint, Coach Hanna talking. Pay attention to who you ask for what, because that's, most of the time, that's your answer right there. Because you know who is going to respond what. So you ask that person. So you already know your answer subconsciously.
Right.
Okay, continue.
So even though we have your answer, I'm still going to talk a while so that you can collect yourself. So apart from like major concerns like health issues or in my case, so here's the thing. Whatever will keep you scared and keep you uncomfortable while this baby is baking are reasons not to have a baby. And if there are not things that will stick around that you can't work through over the course of getting yourself ready to have an outside baby, as I used to say, versus an inside baby, those are things you should deal with before having a baby. So we had kind of gotten to a place where we were planning to get pregnant, but we weren't planning to get pregnant right when we got pregnant. So it moved our timetable up. And I think that's just the way if you're trying to conceive naturally, not using fertility treatments or donors or, any of those things. If it's just like procreative sex you're trying to have, planning is hard anyway.
Yeah.
Planning is hard with those other things too. But with this one, there's so many unknown factors. If you don't know your fertility and your partner's fertility. And a lot of times you don't even know exactly if you're ovulating or when you're ovulating. There's lots of ways to figure those things out. But there's plenty of pregnancies that don't end in a baby. And there's plenty of ovulation sex that doesn't end in a pregnancy. And there's all of these factors that aren't plannable. And so there's a lot of trying to conceive that's just not knowable and not plannable. So there's going to be a lot of that anyway. So yeah, I think it's definitely a mix. I am more of the mindset, like, if you think you, right, for my friend and my sister Hanna, I think you should go for it. But a lot of that is selfishly motivated because I want you to have a baby. Not even for the podcast, just for our life. Also for the podcast, though, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's in the mix with the reasonings.
No.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's just so unplannable to begin with. I mean, obviously it's on the spectrum of plannable, but I think unless there's something huge in your life that would stop you, either mentally, physically, or like responsibly, and you have the option to choose whether or not you're going to have a baby, then I think that those are considerations. Obviously, also, who you're having the baby with has to have those things too. So, yeah, I guess that's my opinion on it. Whew, flying by the seat of my pants over here. I usually like to think about this stuff ahead of time.
Sorry. Thank you.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, and with what you said, I think it's interesting because you know about our situation.
Mm-hmm.
So what I read into what you said, there are a few of those things that you just said. If there's some of that, then maybe get that figured out first. And yet you're telling me just do it.
I know. I'm full of contradictions. And the other thing
and that's what happens in my brain. So that's
right.
Like
I'm mirroring very correctly.
Yeah.
Or very appropriately anyway. Yeah. It's such a wonky thing, right? Because on the one hand, there's no way to get your life together so that everything's fine and there's a perfect situation and then now we're going to have a baby, right? Like that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There is no way to prepare to bring a human into the world.
Mm-hmm.
There are things you can do to prepare, and there are states and places where it's easier, healthier, less psychologically traumatic. Like there are times when having a baby is much, much, much harder for both you and for the baby.
Yeah.
And there are times when it's easier. It's not easy, but there are times when it's less hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine lots of situations in my life where I could have gotten pregnant and would have had the baby, and it would have been very different than it is now. And it would have been a lot more emotionally tumultuous, and it would have been a lot more scary, like practically, and just in my life, in my relationship, and but also I would have had a baby and I would have loved it and I would have figured out a way to take care of it and it would have been okay in the end. So that's sort of my range of things. If you are prepared to deal with the things that are still scary, then I think you're going to be okay. If you don't have a support system and you don't have the means to deal with those things, I'm not necessarily talking financial means. I mean, like what you need mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, socially, community, and you have the choice, maybe those are things to consider. So I guess that's my real opinion, but I still want you to just have a baby.
I know. The baby wants me to have the baby.
Well, that was one of my questions. Like, do you think this is just the baby getting up in your brain and being like, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. You need to do this now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I cannot remember if I've ever had a dream like this. It just felt so real.
Yeah.
And
that's how my pregnancy dreams felt, by the way. So maybe pregnant.
Oh. No.
Pregnancy dreams, man. Night after night of that sort of thing.
Oh my God.
It's a lot.
Huh. Okay. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, It's over a year ago that I met that spirit for the first time, and they even gave me a timeline, and that timeline has come and passed. And then I met them again, and they were like, it's okay, just chill, and I'll be here, it's fine. Yeah, but like, I want to meet them because I feel like I know them already.
Yeah.
So that's like, and Matthias doesn't have that, so of course he doesn't have this aspect of it. That is so heavy on my pro side, let's call it.
That motivation to throw things out the window.
Yeah. And just trust.
Yeah.
Because my brain is full on, no, not right now.
Mm-hmm.
But me spiritually, which is where I've been generally more moving towards to live my life in a more spiritual and just trusting and being in the flow of life way, that me is like, just let it go. And like, I don't even want to try. I just want to stop contraception and then see what happens.
Yeah.
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 I can't believe I'm putting this on a podcast. Jesus. This should be a Patreon episode, but we don't have one yet, so.
We don't have one yet.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's also why I wanted to ask you, because I know, like, this is the situation that you were in. We know we want to have a baby. We have plans for it. If it were to happen right now, it were to happen a little bit before we had planned for it to happen. So what happened to you? Which is, why I thought I'll just ask her how she, in retrospect, feels about it.
Well, in retrospect, there's a lot of external things that would have possibly changed our plans. We planned to start trying to have a baby in March of 2020. And I don't know that we would have started at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad it happened when it did, because otherwise we still might be babyless. And I was really ready.
Yeah. And I think that's also a factor, that things keep happening that keep me thinking, oh, well, this kind of changes the timeline. And it keeps pushing it. To which then my reaction is like, I then go into the opposite direction and I'm like, well, then we should just do it now. Right.
Yeah. I think there are so many reasons not to have a baby right now.
Yeah.
Like, and I meant that in a very general way, right? Like, in everybody's life who is thinking about having a baby in the not too distant future, there are lots of reasons not to have a baby right now. And when that future comes, there are also lots of reasons then to not have a baby right now.
Yeah.
And if all those things that we talked about aren't, I guess my scale of what's a preventative factor is really high. Like, it has to be real preventative for me to be like, oh yeah, that's a good reason not to have a baby, right? Like, I just, this is a very problematic stance we're taking. I don't know how I feel about any of this. Let me just be clear. I feel like this is bad advice for a lot of people, but I also feel like
we're not giving advice here. Please.
No, we're not giving advice. Don't listen to us.
This is just a conversation between us.
Yeah. So I guess I'll speak for myself, right? In March of 2020, would have been a big old reason not to have a baby right then. In October, November of 2019, when we got pregnant, there was plenty of reason not to have a baby right then. If we had waited in March and done it later, there would have been lots of reasons not to have a baby right then. And so I think in our case, and in your case, if your relationship is healthy, if you feel like you're able to provide for the child and you want to have a baby, right? Because our relationship changed hugely during pregnancy and once our baby got here. And it continues to do so. And, the vast majority of that has been great change, but it's also really hard and it's complicated and it's weird and it feels foreign and it feels scary. But we had a really good relationship base and we had years of communication behind us, and we had already navigated some difficult stuff, and we had a lot of trust in each other. And so I think that's a huge part of starting a family, and how that works is the people in your baby raising team have to have a good... Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so as long as the people in your baby raising team have the ability to communicate through hard things, which you guys do, it's...
But I am scared of that too. The change that it will do to our relationship.
Yeah, it's scary.
Because I like a lot how it is right now.
Yeah.
And we are still getting to know each other. I mean, I know you never stop getting to know your partner, but it has only been, like, we're coming up on 3 years. And I don't know. It's not really, that's not a con reason. It's just, I'm just saying that's there too. That
It still makes you nervous.
Yeah, nervous.
Yeah.
What it's going to do and how it's going to be.
That's legitimate. I mean, I think that everyone feels that way if they're, you know, with someone and having a baby with them. It's a huge life change for everyone involved.
Yeah. Like, what's our life going to be like? Like, how are we going to organize ourselves? Which is another reason that makes me feel like maybe this also just means I'm ready because I'm thinking about these things and feeling them more intensely. Like it
feels more real.
Yes, it's less theoretical than it has been before.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. I'm so excited. I was trying to keep that one in and it didn't work. Well, I want to know what everyone else thinks and how. Maybe you don't want to know, but I want to know if they think you should throw your plans out the window. How much
I'm
planning?
pretty sure everyone's going to say that, but sure, yes, let me know what you think.
And how much planning went into your family planning?
That's what I really want to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where your thought process
and how do you feel
at.
about it in retrospect?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let us know.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah, fair. That's it for today. I hope this was interesting to you. I hope we didn't say anything too ridiculous. But it's a weird topic to talk through. It's also very exciting. I can't wait till you have a little tiny baby.
I know.
Alrighty. I'll talk to you later.
Till next week. Bye.
Bye.